Some women build your life. The wrong woman burns it down. Today, I am handing you a filter most men never use. You are a grown man with real responsibilities. You want connection, attraction, and peace. But dating in midlife can feel like a casino. Beauty blinds you, chemistry speeds you up, and small red flags hide in the glow. You excuse late replies, vague stories, and attention habits because you do not want to start over. You tell yourself she will settle down once she chooses you. Meanwhile, your focus slips, your standards bend, and your mission gets blurry. Here is the fix. Stop dating vibes and start reading patterns. In this video, I will show you 6 female archetypes you should never date, and the exact signals that expose them early. You will learn the phrases that reveal entitlement, the behaviors that predict chaos, and the boundaries that keep your frame intact. You will get quick tests you can run in conversation, plus a calm exit plan when you see the truth. If you are serious about protecting your time, money, energy, and masculinity, subscribe now and stay with me. I will keep this clean, practical, and respectful, with just enough bite to change the way you choose. Ready to date with clarity and still keep the spark. Take notes and protect your peace. Let's get into it. Number 1. The woman who lives for attention. You know her the moment she walks into a room. She doesn't just arrive, she performs. Every movement is calibrated to be seen, every word designed to draw eyes. At first, it feels magnetic. She laughs at your jokes, touches your arm, and makes you feel like the only man in the world. But here's the truth, brother. You're not the only man in her world. You're just part of her audience. Take David, 55, a successful contractor from Texas. After his divorce, he met Melissa, 49, at a friend's dinner party. She was confident, gorgeous, always surrounded by people. She told him she was tired of fake men, and he believed her. The first few weeks felt like a movie, constant messages, compliments, selfies. But slowly things shifted. She started posting pictures that felt like bait. The captions weren't for him, they were for everyone else. When he didn't react fast enough, she'd say, "Don't you think I look good?" That wasn't a question, it was a test. That's what the attention addict does. She feeds off validation the way a runner breathes air. And the more you give, the hungrier she gets. Her loyalty isn't to you, it's to the reflection of herself that others admire. When you compliment her, she smiles. But when 10 strangers do, she glows. You can't compete with an audience. You'll never be enough because enough doesn't exist for someone addicted to being seen. Here's what's dangerous her behavior looks like. Confidence, but it's insecurity wearing lipstick. She chases external approval because she can't sit still with her own silence. The likes, the attention, the flirting, it's noise that keeps her from facing herself. And when the noise fades, she'll reach for the next man who can turn the volume back up. You might think you can ground her, that your maturity and calm energy will steady her. But the truth is, she doesn't want stillness, she wants stimulation. And the moment your focus shifts away, she feels invisible. That's when she'll stir up conflict, not because she hates you, but because she fears being unseen. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Spend enough time with a woman like this, and her chaos becomes your color. You start checking her social media, wondering who she's with, trying to outgive the world. You lose the calm that made you attractive in the first place. The Stoic man knows that peace and attention don't coexist. You can give her affection, but you can't fill the void she refuses to face. Your presence won't heal her need for an audience, it'll just make you another act in her show. David learned this the hard way. One night he told her he was tired of competing with her followers. She laughed and said, "You're just jealous because people like me." That was the moment he realized he wasn't jealous. He was done. If you ever feel like you're performing for the person you're dating, that's not love, that's exhaustion in disguise. Real connection feels calm, not competitive. If you've been there, say this in the comments, "I've seen this." Because the truth is, once you recognize an attention addict early, you stop mistaking validation for attraction. And what's coming next might sting even more, because the next type doesn't just want attention. She wants your wallet, your energy, and your future. Stay with me. Number 2, the transactional lover. Let's be honest, this one doesn't show up looking like a red flag. She's polite, charming, and emotionally stable on the surface. She'll compliment your ambition, your house, your discipline. She'll tell you she's not like other women, but what she's really saying is, I'm here for the benefits, not the bond. The transactional lover doesn't trade affection for affection, she trades it for access. To lifestyle, to comfort, to security. It's not always about money. Sometimes it's about status, reputation, or emotional convenience. She's drawn to what you represent, not who you are. To her, relationships are negotiations, and love is leverage. You'll know her by how she keeps score. When she gives, she expects an equal or greater return. Compliments become currency, time becomes investment. Her favorite word isn't us, it's more. And here's the tricky part, she's good at disguising it. She won't ask directly. She'll imply. She'll make you want to give by making you feel like the prize. But the truth is, she's the one running the deal. The danger isn't that she takes from you, it's that you start measuring yourself by what you give. You start equating generosity with love, forgetting that real affection doesn't require proof. When she says, "You're so generous," what she really means is, keep feeding the transaction, and once the flow stops, so does her interest. Seneca once wrote, "He who gives only to receive loses both the gift and the giver." That's exactly what happens with her. The moment you stop delivering what she wants, she withdraws, not because she's hurt, but because the contract expired. You'll notice she's always grateful but never content. You could give her your time, your energy, even your heart, but she'll still look at what's missing, because to her scarcity is power. The less satisfied she appears, the more you chase her approval. It's not love she's after, it's control. From a Stoic perspective, this kind of relationship destroys your equilibrium. You start believing your worth depends on external validation, that generosity equals value. But the Stoics remind us, virtue not validation defines the man. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A woman who always wants more teaches you one thing, that peace cannot survive in the presence of greed. The transactional lover isn't always malicious. Sometimes she's wounded. Maybe she grew up equating love with gifts, attention, or protection. But your role isn't to heal that wound, it's to recognize it. Because if you don't, she'll pull you into her emotional economy and you'll bankrupt your sense of self trying to keep her satisfied. When you realize that your relationship feels more like a business meeting than a bond, it's time to step back. Ask yourself, would she still want me if I had nothing to offer but myself? If the answer isn't a confident yes, you already know where you stand. The Stoic man gives freely but never foolishly. He knows that love built on transaction will always collapse under its own weight. If you've ever felt like affection came with an invoice, write this in the comments, "I've paid that price." Because the next kind of woman won't drain your wallet, she'll drain your peace. And she'll do it with a smile, a song, and a promise that the night will never end. Number 3, the party girl illusion. She's the woman who walks into your life like a shot of tequila, smooth, thrilling, and dangerous enough to make you forget what comes after. At first, she's intoxicating. Every night with her feels alive. Music, laughter, late drives, impulsive decisions. You feel young again, spontaneous again, seen again. But what feels like freedom at the start slowly turns into fatigue. Because when the high wears off, you're left with the hangover of reality. Let's talk about Ethan, 57, from Colorado. After his wife passed away, he told himself he just wanted to have fun again. That's when he met Rachel, 50, A yoga instructor who lived like the world was her playground. She was wild in all the ways he thought he'd forgotten how to be. She took him to rooftop bars, spontaneous road trips and beach parties, where the night never seemed to end. For a while, Ethan felt alive again, but as the months passed, he started noticing something deeper. When the music stopped, Rachel grew restless. Silence made her uncomfortable. Every quiet dinner turned into a need to go somewhere. Every calm night ended with her scrolling through social media, hunting for the next thrill. That's the thing about the party girl. She's not chasing fun. She's running from emptiness. She fills her life with noise because stillness reminds her of what she doesn't want to face herself. And when you fall for her, you're not just dating her, you're joining her escape route. At first, her energy feels magnetic. She pulls you into her orbit, makes you feel spontaneous and desirable. But soon the same qualities that drew you in start to wear you down. You realize every good time costs something: sleep, peace, or even self-respect. You start rearranging your life to fit her chaos, telling yourself it's worth it because you haven't felt this alive in years. But deep down you know that's not aliveness, that's adrenaline. The Stoics warned about this kind of illusion. Seneca once said, "He who seeks pleasure too eagerly will never find satisfaction." Pleasure without purpose turns into dependence. You start needing her energy just to feel okay. When she cancels plans or disappears for a few days, you feel it like withdrawal. You're not addicted to her, you're addicted to the way she makes you forget yourself. Ethan learned this the hard way. One night after another, 2 a.m. argument about why he never wants to go out anymore. He finally said, "Because I'm tired of performing." Her response, "Then maybe you're not fun anymore." And that's when it hit him. She didn't want him. She wanted a mirror that reflected her youth back at her. Here's the truth: the party girl doesn't grow with you. She drains you. You'll spend your time trying to keep her entertained while your purpose fades in the background. And when you can't keep up anymore, she'll find someone who can, at least for a little while. If your peace starts costing you your excitement, that's not a relationship, that's a performance. You deserve more than temporary highs disguised as happiness. If you've ever been pulled into someone's chaos thinking it was chemistry, write this in the comments. I've lived that. And stay close, because the next woman doesn't party for fun, she plays for power. And when you meet her, you'll understand why charm can sometimes be a weapon. Number 4. The Mirror Narcissist. This one is dangerous, not because she's loud or unpredictable, but because she's calculated. She doesn't drain you with drama. She drains you with reflection. She studies you, learns your strengths, your tone, your rhythm. Then she becomes you. At first you think you've met the perfect woman. She likes what you like, laughs when you laugh, agrees with everything you say. But you're not meeting her. You're meeting your own reflection wearing lipstick. The Mirror Narcissist builds connection through imitation, not intimacy. She mirrors your values, your passions, even your wounds. She'll say things like, "You're the only man who really gets me," when what she really means is, "You're the only man who reflects what I want to believe about myself." You feel seen, understood, and desired, but it's all projection. The trap is subtle. Because she reflects your best qualities, you feel drawn to protect her, to pour into her, to keep the connection alive. But slowly that reflection shifts. The admiration turns into criticism. The warmth turns cold. She begins to compete with the very traits she once admired in you. The same confidence she praised now intimidates her. The same calm she once loved now feels distant. You go from being her mirror to being her rival. Here's how the Stoics would see it. You've placed your piece in a mirror that changes shape. Epictetus said, "When someone shows you anger or envy, remember he acts from what seems right to him. It is you who must choose what seems right to yourself." The Stoic doesn't chase reflection. He guards reality. The Mirror Narcissist cannot love you because she hasn't learned to love herself beyond what she reflects. And if she doesn't know who she is, she'll always need you to remind her, until she resents you for it. Her validation is parasitic. When you're strong, she feels alive. When you're uncertain, she feels superior. Her emotional stability depends entirely on your reflection. And once that reflection no longer feeds her, once you stop admiring her or start setting boundaries, she detaches coldly, without closure. Because to her, the connection was never about you. It was about the feeling she got when you adored her. You'll notice something consistent: she's always the victim. Every ex was toxic, every friend jealous, every failure someone else's fault. You'll want to help her, to show her what accountability looks like. But you can't teach responsibility to someone who survives by deflecting it. The Stoic man learns to see these mirrors early. He doesn't get angry at them, he simply stops looking into them, because the only reflection worth studying is his own. When you stop feeding her illusion, she'll vanish. It won't be dramatic, it'll be silent. And that silence will feel like freedom. If you've ever felt like you were dating your own reflection, someone who loved you for your energy, then punished you for it, write this in the comments: I've seen that mirror. And listen, brother, if you're ready to rise above this kind of manipulation for good, join the private membership. Inside, we go deeper into Stoic strategies for emotional control, masculine boundaries, and detachment from toxic dynamics. You'll learn how to stop being mirrored and start being rooted. The link's in the description. Because when you stop needing reflection, you start living in truth. And truth is where your real power begins. Number 5. The woman who confuses sex with power. You meet her, and the chemistry hits like lightning. There's no waiting, no guessing. She knows how to draw you in. The way she talks, the way she moves, the way she looks at you, it feels like she sees right through you. But what you don't realize yet is that what she's giving you isn't intimacy, it's control. Because for her, sex isn't about connection, it's about dominance. Let's talk about Mike, 58, from Chicago. He met Vanessa, 51, at a friend's art gallery opening. She was confident, magnetic, the kind of woman who could silence a room just by walking through it. From the first night she took charge. Her texts were bold, her affection physical, her energy intoxicating. Mike thought he'd found a woman who finally matched his drive. But after a few months, something shifted. The more he opened up emotionally, the colder she became. When he didn't chase her, she turned up the heat again. It was a constant push and pull seduction followed by distance. It took him a while to see it, but eventually he realized every act of intimacy was a test. Every moment together was about control. That's how this kind of woman operates. She uses desire as leverage. Her validation comes from knowing she can make you lose yours. It's not about love, it's about power. She feels most in control when you're the one off balance. You'll notice it in how she withholds affection when she doesn't get her way, or how she turns vulnerability into weakness. She'll say things like, "I just want a real man," but what she really means is, "I want a man who submits without realizing it." And here's the paradox. The more you chase her approval, the less she respects you, because her attraction is tied to tension. Once you give her peace, she gets bored. Once you offer security, she feels trapped. She's not looking for partnership, she's looking for proof. Proof that she still has control, that she can still make men orbit her with desire. From a Stoic perspective, this dynamic is the exact opposite of discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The moment a woman can control your emotions through your desire, you've given away your power. You're no longer choosing, you're reacting. And that's when she wins. You might think you're too mature to fall for that, but emotional manipulation doesn't stop with youth. It just becomes more refined. She won't beg for attention. She'll orchestrate it. She'll withdraw knowing you'll come looking for her. She'll make you feel like intimacy is a reward, not a shared moment. And before you know it, you're working to earn what should have been mutual from the start. Mike told me the moment he broke free was when he stopped trying to impress her. He stopped chasing her messages, stopped trying to earn her affection, and instead focused on himself, his work, his discipline, his peace. The more detached he became, the more she unraveled. Because once she couldn't control him through attraction, she had nothing left to offer. Here's the truth: a woman who equates sex with power will always fear emotional intimacy, because real intimacy requires surrender, not dominance. And a man grounded in Stoic strength never confuses surrender with weakness. If you've ever felt like your desire was being used against you, comment this: "I've felt that control." Because next we'll uncover something even harder to see: the woman who hides behind sensitivity and charm, but uses emotion itself as her weapon. Number 6. The emotionally unavailable dreamer. She seems deep, thoughtful, almost poetic. She talks about books, energy, the universe, and soul connections. She'll tell you, "I've just been hurt too many times," or "I'm not ready for something serious, but I don't want to lose this." And because you're empathetic, mature, patient, you believe her. You think time will heal her, that she just needs a man who won't give up. But here's the harsh truth: she doesn't want to be healed. She wants to stay broken just enough to keep you trying. The emotionally unavailable dreamer lives in a world where fantasy is safer than reality. She'll open up about her pain but never actually move past it. She thrives on almost ready, almost in love, almost healed. She'll build a connection strong enough to pull you in, but vague enough to keep you guessing. You'll have moments of real intimacy, followed by emotional distance, so cold it feels like you never met. She's the type who will cry in your arms, talk about fate, then vanish for days. And when she comes back, she'll say she needed space to realign her energy. It sounds spiritual, but what she's really doing is protecting her comfort. Because real intimacy, consistent, stable, open, demands vulnerability. And vulnerability terrifies her. What's confusing about her is that she doesn't manipulate through deceit. She manipulates through ambiguity. She believes her own story. She truly thinks she's not ready, and you buy into it because her pain feels genuine. But what you don't see is that her emotional unavailability isn't a phase, it's her identity. She's addicted to the idea of love, not the reality of it. The dream is safer than the doing. The Stoics would call this attachment to illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The emotionally unavailable dreamer has never truly lived in love, only imagined it. She protects herself from heartbreak by never committing to anything real. The problem is, you can't build with someone who's always halfway in and halfway gone. And you, the grounded man, become the rescuer. You start adjusting your pace to hers, suppressing your needs, convincing yourself that patience equals love. But love without reciprocity is not virtue, it's self-betrayal. Stoicism teaches that your peace is your responsibility, not someone else's potential. You can't wait a woman into emotional maturity. Eventually, the relationship becomes a cycle. She reaches out when she's lonely, disappears when you get close, and apologizes just enough to keep the door open. You tell yourself it's timing, that one day she'll be ready, but she won't, because being almost ready gives her power. It keeps you chasing something that doesn't exist. Here's the truth: you can't fix someone who confuses emotional avoidance with spiritual depth. And if you stay too long, you'll start mirroring her, detached, uncertain, afraid to trust. The Stoic man doesn't wait for readiness that never comes. He accepts reality as it is. He knows that love requires presence, not promises. If you've ever found yourself falling for someone who talks about connection but runs from commitment, write this in the comments: "I've waited long enough." Because what comes next is the woman who hides her avoidance behind perfection, and she'll make you think you're the problem when she pulls away. Number 7. The Commitment Chameleon. She's the kind of woman who makes you believe you've finally found the one. She listens intently, mirrors your goals, and tells you she's tired of games. She says she wants something real, something stable, and she's convincing. She'll talk about moving in together, meeting your family, maybe even starting over fresh. But then, just when you think things are solid, she changes color. Suddenly, the woman who wanted commitment starts pulling away, saying things like, "I just need to figure myself out right now." Let's talk about Greg, 54, from Florida. A successful business owner, calm, grounded, and tired of shallow connections. He met Laura, 48, through mutual friends. She was charming, intelligent, and seemed emotionally mature. In the beginning, she matched his pace, perfectly affectionate, consistent, available. They spent weekends together, planned trips, talked about building a future. But a few months later, her tone shifted. She became distant, restless, busy. One night, when Greg asked what was wrong, she sighed and said, "I love what we have, but I'm not sure I'm ready for what you want." Greg was stunned. Nothing had changed except her comfort level. That's the thing about the commitment chameleon. She adapts beautifully in the beginning, but only because she mirrors what you want until the pressure of consistency shows up. She's great at falling in love, but terrible at staying there. She thrives on the idea of connection, not the work of it. The thrill of the chase, the newness, the emotional intensity, that's her oxygen. But once the relationship demands depth, she starts suffocating. The real her emerges, and it's not the version she sold you. The commitment chameleon doesn't lie outright. She believes every promise she makes in the moment. When she says, "You're everything I've been looking for," she means it for now. But her emotions shift like weather. Her version of love is situational, not stable. When reality sets in, when it's not butterflies but boundaries, she changes. The Stoics would call this attachment to comfort. Seneca once said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." The commitment chameleon fears discomfort so deeply that she avoids it at all costs, even if it means sabotaging something good. When the honeymoon phase fades, she interprets peace as boredom and starts searching for that spark again somewhere else. For men like Greg, that shift feels personal. You start wondering what you did wrong, why she's slipping away. But here's the truth: you didn't do anything wrong. You just stopped being new. And to her, that's unforgivable. The irony is she often returns later once you've moved on. She'll say things like, "I wasn't ready then, but I can't stop thinking about you." But what she misses isn't you. It's the version of herself she liked when she was with you. The mirror of stability she can't create alone. Greg learned that lesson the hard way. When Laura tried to come back months later, he simply said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." That was the most stoic thing he could have done, not in anger but in acceptance. Because the truth is, the commitment chameleon teaches a powerful lesson. Consistency isn't chemistry, it's discipline. And if she doesn't have it within herself, she'll never sustain it with you. If you've ever been pulled in by someone who promised forever but couldn't handle tomorrow, write this in the comments: "I've lived that lie." Because next we'll talk about a woman even harder to recognize, one who hides behind kindness but slowly drains every ounce of your peace. Number 8. The feminine predator. This one doesn't come with a warning label. She doesn't look dangerous. In fact, she's often the opposite. Soft voice, calm tone, gentle eyes. She's not loud, she's deliberate. She studies you, quietly learns what makes you open up, what makes you feel seen, and then she uses it not for love, but for leverage. The feminine predator doesn't chase with aggression. She hunts with empathy. She's the woman who knows how to make you confess. She listens deeply, nods at the right moments, asks the right questions. She'll draw out your pain, your insecurities, your past wounds, all under the disguise of intimacy. And once she knows what you crave most, understanding, validation, peace, she gives it to you in measured doses. Never too much, just enough to keep you hooked. To the outside world, she's nurturing, emotionally intelligent, maybe even spiritual. But make no mistake, this is not compassion, it's calculation. Her weapon isn't seduction, it's psychology. She gives you exactly what your ego needs to feel safe, so when she starts pulling it away, you'll chase it. You'll chase her. That's the trap. The feminine predator doesn't need to raise her voice or manipulate through obvious tactics. She operates through silence, absence, and uncertainty. She'll say things like, "I just need some time," or "You're too good for me not to let you go, but to reel you back in." Her control lies in emotional imbalance, giving you enough hope to believe, but never enough stability to relax. This is the kind of woman the Stoics warned us about, the one who can sway your reason through emotion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." The feminine predator feeds on the opposite, your loss of calm. Every reaction, every message you send, every attempt to fix things reminds her that she still has influence. What makes her so effective is that she never asks for power directly. You give it to her willingly, believing you're helping her heal, guiding her, or proving your love. But in reality, she's not seeking a partner, she's testing her ability to control one. To her, affection isn't about connection, it's about confirmation that she can bend emotion to her will. She thrives on men who lead with empathy, men who believe understanding can save someone. But as Stoicism teaches, compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. You can't save someone who feeds on your strength. You can't love someone who measures their power by how much of your peace they can take. The feminine predator doesn't break you with cruelty, she breaks you with confusion. You'll question yourself more than you question her. You'll rationalize her coldness as depth, her inconsistency as mystery. And that's when you know she's succeeded, when you start doubting your own clarity just to maintain her chaos. The Stoic man sees through that illusion. He doesn't fight her energy, he detaches from it. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Your freedom comes from restraint, not reaction. Once you stop responding to her emotional games, her power evaporates. Because her influence only exists in your reactivity. If you've ever been entangled with someone who used emotion like a weapon, who offered warmth only to take it back, comment this: "I felt that trap." And keep watching, because the next kind of woman won't manipulate you with emotion, she'll disguise her self-destruction as strength. And if you're not careful, she'll pull you right into it. Number 9. The woman who doesn't love you, but loves what you give her. You've probably met her before. She's warm, sweet, attentive, at least at first. She praises your kindness, tells you you're different, and says things like, "You treat me better than anyone ever has." You feel appreciated, respected, even admired. But over time, something starts to feel off. It's not what she says, it's what she doesn't give back. You start to realize that she doesn't actually love you. She loves the benefits that come with you. Take Daniel, 56, from Arizona, a divorced father of 2 who spent most of his life putting others first. When he met Erin, 47, he felt alive again. She told him he made her feel safe, secure, and valued. He loved that it made him feel like his maturity and stability were finally appreciated. But slowly, he started noticing a pattern. Every time he tried to talk about his needs or struggles, she'd steer the conversation back to herself. When he gave her gifts, time, or support, she was glowing. But when he needed something emotional, she was distant. That's how women like this operate. They don't take from you through force. They take through affection. She'll never demand. She'll inspire. She'll make you want to give. Because giving to her makes you feel useful, masculine, even noble. But in truth, you're not in love. You're performing service for someone who's only there to receive. It's not always money or material things. Sometimes it's energy, reassurance, or attention. She'll say things like, "You're the only one who understands me, not as gratitude, but as a hook." Because the more you invest, the harder it becomes to see that what she's giving back is just enough to keep you trying. When Daniel finally realized what was happening, it wasn't after a fight, it was after a quiet dinner. She'd spent the whole evening talking about how draining her week was. and as he sat there half listening, he noticed something strange. He couldn't remember the last time she'd asked about him. The silence hit him harder than any argument ever could. He wasn't her partner. He was her provider, emotionally, financially, psychologically. The Stoics warned against this kind of attachment. Seneca wrote, "He who seeks to please others loses himself." When your identity revolves around being appreciated, you attract people who feed on your generosity. They don't love the man, they love the feeling of being taken care of. The danger is subtle, because she's not cruel, not manipulative in an obvious way. She'll genuinely thank you, hug you, and tell you how much you mean to her. But her affection is conditional. It exists as long as your usefulness does. Once you stop giving her warmth, turns to indifference. And here's the painful truth: she doesn't leave you because she's angry. She leaves you because you've served your purpose. And that hurts more than betrayal, because it feels transactional, not emotional. The Stoic man learns to give without attachment. He understands that love isn't measured by how much he provides, but by mutual exchange. True connection isn't built on one person pouring while the other sips endlessly. It's built on reciprocity, presence, effort, and shared growth. If you've ever realized that someone loved what you gave more than who you were, write this in the comments: "I've felt that emptiness." Because what comes next is the hardest truth of all: the woman who takes, drains, and leaves, but not because she hates you, because she was never looking for love in the first place. Number 10. The Stoic path: choosing peace over chaos. At some point, every man reaches a moment of clarity when the noise fades and you see the pattern. You realize it's not just about the women you've dated or the heartbreaks you've endured. It's about the kind of energy you've allowed into your life. Because all along it was never just them, it was you choosing chaos over calm, excitement over stability, illusion over truth. The Stoic path begins where the chaos ends. It starts the moment you decide that your peace is worth more than your pride, your purpose, or your temporary desires. You stop asking, "Why did she do this to me?" and start asking, "Why did I allow it?" That shift from blame to awareness is where strength is born. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In relationships, that means you can't control who stays, who leaves, or who loves you. But you can control how you respond. The moment you stop letting emotional chaos dictate your actions, you reclaim your masculine authority. The truth is, many men fall in love, not with women, but with the drama they bring. The highs, the lows, the tension. It makes them feel alive. But Stoicism teaches that real aliveness doesn't come from adrenaline. It comes from awareness, from choosing what serves your growth, not what feeds your ego. When you detach from the constant need to be desired, you stop being controlled by the illusion of validation. You begin to see attraction for what it is: energy, not identity. You start noticing how many of your choices were made out of loneliness, not love. You start realizing that peace doesn't mean boredom, it means strength. Because peace requiert discipline. It takes real courage to walk away from a woman who excites your impulses but drains your soul. The Stoic man learns to sit with silence instead of chasing stimulation. He understands that solitude isn't emptiness, it's clarity. When you stop filling your time with noise, you begin to hear yourself again. You start reconnecting with the calm, grounded version of yourself that existed before the chaos. That man is still there, patient, wise, and in control. And this is where the transformation happens. When you start valuing peace, you attract differently. You stop confusing manipulation for passion and chaos for chemistry. You recognize that a healthy relationship doesn't challenge your sanity, it supports your purpose. The Stoic path isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about mastering your emotions. It's about being the calm in the storm, not the storm itself. You don't need to outplay or outguess anyone. You simply refuse to participate in the drama. You stay grounded in reason, guided by values, and unmoved by temporary temptation. And over time, something powerful happens. Women start reacting differently to you. The same games that once pulled you in now bore you. The same drama that once thrilled you now feels heavy. You've outgrown it, not because you're cynical, but because you've evolved. You've become what most men never do, a man at peace with himself. That's the reward of the Stoic path. Not the absence of women, but the presence of self. Not emotional numbness, but emotional command. When you no longer need chaos to feel alive, you finally understand what real freedom feels like. So brother, if you've walked through the fire of toxic love, manipulation, and confusion, and you're still standing, that means you're ready. Ready to choose calm over conflict, peace over passion, purpose over pain. That's what Stoicism teaches, and that's where your power begins. So brother, now you see the pattern clearly. There are women who drain your peace, challenge your balance, and feed off your energy. But through each one there's a lesson. Control what's within, release what's not. Every red flag you recognize is a step towards strength. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you build power. And every moment you protect your calm, you reclaim your identity as a man of discipline and self-mastery. This video wasn't just about avoiding the wrong women, it was about becoming the right man. A man who doesn't chase validation, who doesn't get trapped by chaos, and who never trades peace for passion. That's the essence of Stoicism, to live by choice, not by emotion. To lead yourself before trying to lead anyone else. If you're ready to go deeper into this path, to develop the mindset, emotional control, and unshakable discipline that modern men have forgotten, join our private membership. Inside, we go beyond these videos. You'll get access to exclusive Stoic lessons, community discussions, and frameworks that help you lead your relationships, not lose yourself in them. And if you found value here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to keep this conversation going, to keep learning, sharpening, and becoming stronger every single day. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Take this knowledge, apply it, and keep walking the Stoic path, the path of peace, purpose, and power. I'll see you tomorrow.